If William Shakespeare didn't write Shakespeare's plays, then who did? This video will be about most of the possible writers of the Shakespearean works. The main contender for the title of the bard is the 17th Earl of Oxford, Edward de Vere. This belief is known as the Oxfordian theory. He was known to be a poetic writer and lover of art. In fact, he patroned many works, including his family's company of players called Oxford's Men. He also brought many plays to court, just like Hamlet. In fact, he shares multiple similarities to the great Hamlet. Oxford was a ward of William Cecil, Lord Burleigh, Queen Elizabeth's Secretary of State, and later his father-in-law when he married Anne Cecil. Lord Burleigh is also widely believed to have been the influence of Polonius's character in Hamlet. If this is true, then Oxford himself is Hamlet, and his wife, Anne Cecil, is Ophelia. Due to his close ties to the royal court and Queen Elizabeth herself, using a pseudonym for his riskier works is highly likely in order to protect his image. Unfortunately, he died in 1604, well before Shakespeare stopped writing. But can we believe this? Perhaps his final plays were concealed or hidden from public audiences. For more information on the Oxfordian theory, see the links below. The next writer believed to be William Shakespeare is Christopher Marlowe. He was born in 1564, the same year as Shakespeare, and is said to have greatly influenced Shakespeare's works. He is most known for his play Dr. Faustus, and was allegedly a spy for the government. But he was ultimately murdered in 1593 under the orders of Lord Burleigh for his plays containing Catholic propaganda. Or he was accidentally killed by his friends who were after him for owing them money. Or, actually, the Queen ordered his assassination for atheist views. Or maybe none of this is true because his death was faked to save him from a trial and execution for subversive atheism. Maybe he continued on as William Shakespeare to hide for good reasons. In fact, just 13 days after his supposed death, copies of Venus and Adonis were being circulated with Marlowe's name as the author. Marlowe and Shakespeare even have similar styles of writing. Consider this parallel in Marlowe's Jew of Malta. Barbas sees Abigail on a balcony above him and says, "But stay! What star shines yonder in the east? The lodestar of my life, if Abigail." Doesn't this remind you of a certain Romeo and Juliet?
But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun.
There have been many books produced about Marlovian theory. See below for more links if this is of any interest. This next candidate may be shocking, but some scholars actually have found significant evidence that a woman could have been William Shakespeare. I'm talking about Mary Sidney, also known as Mary Herbert, Countess of Pembroke. Although she stands alone as an impeccable writer, her brother, whom she dearly loved and was very close with, was Sir Philip Sidney, a poet known for his popular sonnets Astrophil and Stella. However, living with a huge library allowed Mary to pursue writing of her own. But she is credited with creating 27 new words in the Oxford English Dictionary, words including sea monster and thunderstrike. Shakespeare is also credited for inventing thousands of words, but all of Mary's are used in the Shakespearean plays. Mary was actually very inventive and also discovered a recipe for invisible ink, an important tool for someone with writings to hide. Mary Sidney, like the Earl of Oxford, grew up in court as well. Her mother was Robert Dudley's sister, and her brother Philip was engaged to Anne Cecil, before Oxford married her, of course. In fact, this also prompted her to possibly write Hamlet. Peeking in at Oxford's life, he is Hamlet, William Cecil, Lord Burleigh, is still Polonius, and Anne Cecil is Ophelia. This isn't the only convenient place Mary has been. Remember Ben Jonson is quoted calling Shakespeare Sweet Swan of Avon? Well, Sidney translates into Swan, and she lived at Wilton House while married. where the river Avon flowed through. Coincidence or not? She eventually passed away in 1621, only 2 years before the first folio was printed, which is a reasonable amount of time to produce a writer's complete works. Of course, however, Mary had to use a male pseudonym. Women in Elizabethan England were not permitted to write plays, mostly just translations, which Mary successfully published too. Her translations of the Psalms of David read like sonnets and immortalize her as a beautiful writer. For more information on Mary Sidney as William Shakespeare, see Robin Williams' great book, Sweet Swan of Avon, and follow the links below. There are hundreds of other possible candidates, including Francis Bacon, John Florio, the Earl of Rutledge, even Queen Elizabeth herself. Many scholars even believe that a group theory is a possibility. If that's the case, then Shakespeare was actually a company of some of these writers producing great works together. Perhaps Francis Bacon, Christopher Marlowe, Ed de Vere, and Mary Sidney all met at Wilton House and wrote the Shakespearean plays and sonnets. Maybe everything worked similar to the TV industry does today. Either way, any of these writers have more reasons for being William Shakespeare than William Shakespeare.